Hello, 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 and welcome in, everybody. Hi, Erin. Hi, Loki. Hi, Mandelbrot. Hi, DP. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so nice to see you for the next episode of the Awesome Streamer Hour. I am so happy to be able to have this conversation today because I feel like the person that we're going to chat with tonight is one of the best conversationalists on twitch.tv. Hi, Seamus. Welcome. You all already know and have the cutest emotes in the chat tonight. Thank you, Rand Scott. Yeah, my hair is behaving today for some reason, but that's a good reason. I'm not gonna question it. Hi, Nebulous. Welcome. No. As you can see, Finn clearly knows who I am talking about today because we're going to be talking to Finamenon. Hi, Finn. How are you? Welcome.
Hi, hello. Hi.
Hello. How's your day so far? I'm assuming that you probably woke up just like me, like a couple of hours ago. Late in the evening.
Yeah, exactly. About 3.5 hours ago. Somewhere around there.
Well, I hope it's been a good day so far. And I'm really excited to talk to you today. I've got all my cool questions, and I'm ready to jump in. Hopefully, I don't know how your cats are, because I know at this point, Bobby is usually trying to steal the show, but she's sleeping right now.
They might make an appearance. When I start talking, they're like, oh, okay, it's our turn now. And then I just like, okay, it's their show. So let them do their thing.
Oh, man, that is so funny. Okay, well, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. So let's jump in. Tell me and the rest of chat, everybody watching, about you, your channel, and how you got started on Twitch.
Oh man, the 3-parter, huh? Okay. Let's see. About me, my channel, how I got started on Twitch. 40-year-old dude, been playing video games since I was 4. My channel is like a glorified just chatting channel is the best way to put it. Like I'm a retro streamer mostly, but I still like and do indie games and other stuff too. But like everyone always says like, oh, you actually play games? Like, nah. Like, it's like, no, I'm really just like hanging out with everybody. And that kind of ties into why I started streaming, and I didn't realize it at first. But ever since I was a kid, like my favorite thing to do was to watch friends play video games and have them watch me play video games. Does that sound familiar?
Oh, yeah.
Might be something you and I might do every once in a while, once in a blue moon or almost every day. So, so like I got started on Twitch, unknowingly because I had forgotten how much I liked doing that.
Yeah.
Because I had some friends in my previous career were talking about Twitch at work once for some reason. I don't remember why.
Yeah.
I think one of them was on it and he wouldn't shut up about it. It was like one of those things. And so I went on Twitch and I'm like, all right, let's see if people know these terrible games that I used to play as a kid. So literally the first game I ever searched for on Twitch was 7th Saga on Super Nintendo.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's like something I would have done.
Yeah. So and sure enough, I found this guy PJ who was streaming it. And not only was he streaming it, he was speed running 7th Saga to like hundreds of people. This was like almost 7 years ago, I want to say. And it was wild. I'm like, how do this many people know what this game is? Like I was blown away. Because I like 7th Saga, but anyone who's played it knows that game's a hot mess. Absolute hot mess.
Yeah, I recently played it a little bit in May, and I was like, now I realize why I never finished it, because it's so grindy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you don't grind enough, the enemies, especially your rivals, will destroy you. Because when the game got localized to the US, they made it so whenever you level up, all your stats are reduced by 1. They go up by 1 less than they normally should have. So if you were going to get 5 strength, you get 4 instead. but they forgot to do that for your rivals, so they have higher stats than you.
Yeah.
But if you're too low, like you just don't have enough abilities to win. But if you grind too much, their stats outpace you too much, so they're too strong. So you can't like just go through the game without grinding, but if you grind too much, it becomes impossible. So it's just ridiculous. It's absurd.
Wow. Now all of a sudden, some of those battles that I was doing made sense, because there was this like one particular battle where it felt like it was all luck. It felt like it was all RNG luck based. And because I think I even talked to you about this, and definitely like Hungry Gorilla, because there was a part where the boss was hitting me with just enough damage where it was like hit, then I have to heal. Hit, then I have to heal. And then I would have to cast this like defense spell to raise my defense. Otherwise, if I didn't, I would get hit with like double the damage. A no-win scenario. That's what it felt like. That game is rough. So that's who you found the first time you were searching for retro games on Twitch.
Yeah, and he was like getting all the subscribers, and I'm like, what does that mean? Because I was used to like, at least I didn't use it much, but I knew like on YouTube, subscribe was follow.
Yeah.
But I was like, then I saw a different button that said follow, and I didn't get it until I realized it was paid. But initially, I'm like, I'm seeing this, and it said so and so subscribed for 18 months, and I'm like, people are subscribing like front loading 18 months of payment all at once. Like that's what I thought was happening. I didn't get it, and it just kept happening. So I was like, people are paying this guy to stream this horrible game that I like. I don't get it. This is intriguing, and that's what got me started. So a couple months later, I did my very first stream of the retranslation of Breath of Fire 2, which is, it makes the game make sense. It's actually really good. You should try it.
I would love to. You know what's funny is I love Breath of Fire 3. I know we talked about this a lot. Like, I really love Breath of Fire 3. And
it's the best one.
Yes. And like you said earlier, you know, like growing up, I used to love watching my cousin play video games. And like people would ask me when I was younger, did we ever fight? Like who had, you know, the turn on the controller or whatever, but I was really happy watching people play video games. Like maybe that's why I love watching Twitch so much. But I used to watch him play Chrono Trigger and Illusion of Gaia and Breath of Fire 1, but he always used to tell me he didn't like Breath of Fire 2 as much as he liked Breath of Fire 1. So I always had this, like, I don't know, I guess bias towards it because I didn't know why. Like, I didn't play it myself, but I knew what he was saying about it. So I just always had those thoughts in my mind. And I trusted him because we always almost exclusively played RPGs. Super Mario RPG we played together. Jade Cocoon we played together. Like, a bunch of stuff. So I just always thought that. But I will go and take some time because I really trust your opinion when it comes to RPGs. I consider you like an RPG, like you know so much about it. So I really trust your opinion when it comes to that. I'm going to make sure I definitely try it.
Yeah, do the retranslations because the game has notoriously one of the worst localizations on the Super Nintendo. It is so bad.
Did you just secretly gift a sub to Squidons?
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Thank you for
no idea.
And thank you, Kev Larson, for the 10 bits. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, okay. So, in terms of your channel, I've always been curious, why did you decide on the name Finamenon?
It was a high school nickname.
Oh, that's really cool.
Like, it was a portmanteau of my last name and the word phenomenon. So it just stuck. I don't know why. Like, as soon as I got that nickname, everyone was calling me that and singing two songs from the late 90s that you probably know. One of them's LL Cool J.
I just, like, as soon as you said that, I heard it in my head and I was like, okay, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, I used to hear that shit in the lunchroom all the time.
It is a cool name.
The other was some guy who I think was like a one-hit wonder, or at least he was from my circles. I think his name was Master P.
Oh, okay.
You know that song? Like the music video, there was on a basketball court for some reason.
You know what's weird? I don't remember the song you're talking about, but I know Master P. I definitely know
Yeah.
Master P.
I think it was called like Make 'em Say or something like
Oh,
that.
yes. Yes,
Yeah.
I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah. That goofy song. Uh,
Also, thank you, Erin, for the 10 bits. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, so my next question is, where does the cute little Finny bear come from? I love this. I gotta tell you, chat, whenever I see Phenomenon's emotes anywhere on twitch.tv, I'm always like, man, those are like the cutest little bears. I love them so much. Where did the Finny bear come from?
An accident.
An accident.
Yeah. Right around when I was starting streaming, so like the first year, I was learning how Twitter works for streamers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would post go live tweets, which fine, those are fine, but if that's all you have on Twitter, that's a problem. But
Yeah.
that's a different question. But anyway, I wanted to just post like random goofy pictures. So I have this like old teddy bear. And I put my headphones on him and then gave him my keyboard and took a picture of that and said I'm going live. And that was the picture. And everybody seemed to like it. So I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. So like a couple months later, I was at work when I was working for the Bulls. And I did overnight security for their training facility all the time. And they're like, hey, you can, watch TV, whatever you want. As long as you're doing your job, keep an eye on the cameras, do your rounds, do all that stuff, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So I would use that time to work on my Twitch channel all the time.
Oh.
So I would make like art assets or, like make playlists, music playlists or whatever. Like it just little incremental stuff all the time. And I started tinkering with that photo that I took of the teddy bear. And I, what did I do? I removed all like color saturation. So it just became a silhouette. And then hollowed out where the eyes were and colored it. And turned it into like that silhouette became like the cyan magenta color. So that was like the first iteration ever of that look. Because I was like, I understood at that time, as early even as back then, that having like a clear image for what we would call, I guess, branding was really important for recognition.
Yeah.
Because I was seeing other streamers do that. Like Baru, I think, was pretty popular at the time for that kind of thing. And there were some others too, like Pocket, and she had a lot of Pokemon emotes that were really recognizable.
Yeah.
And I think even Pokemon had stuff like that too. But anyway, I was like, oh, this is a good idea. So I started doing that. And when they finally announced the affiliate program, I was like, ooh, because that was like a month or two before it actually went live. I immediately commissioned an artist to get me an emote of Finny Bear. And the first emote was him doing that. There you go, Racco. Just put it in chat.
The coffee?
That's not the actual emote, but it was the first iteration of that. Yeah, the coffee one.
I think it would be really cool, deep lore, to see that first one that you ever made. I don't know if you've ever posted that anywhere or anything like that, but if you ever did like a, behind the scenes, like showcase like when you get like the talk with the devs, whenever you do like video game interviews, like see like that deep lore, it might be cool to see the original iteration of the bear. Like if you ever wanted to show people the starts of your channel, that would be really cool. Oh yeah, look, the fur. So cute, so cute.
That's it. That's the first one right there.
I love it. I love it a lot. So you mentioned before about branding and the importance of branding on Twitch. I'd really love, we didn't talk about this, like sometimes like I feel like it's cool to ask like the questions off the fly. I know we didn't talk about this before, but I really want to hear your thoughts about why you might think branding is important for Twitch. I just want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I got no limit on questions. You don't got to worry about that.
Cool.
I mean, I think it's important if you have a growth mindset, right? Like if you're a hobby streamer, it doesn't really matter, not really, unless you do want to grow like your channel, your socials and all that. But the fact of the matter is, and this is going to make all of us sound like extremely basic people, but it's also true, is that the less we have to think about what somebody is and what they represent, the better, and the more easily we can identify with them.
Mhm.
So, like, for me, like, if people can just associate me and my content with those blue bears, like, oh, there's Phenomenon. Like, I know there's his emotes. I like immediately recognize those as him, and it makes me think of him, and it makes me think of what he does. So I don't know. It's just kind of like a basic like association thing that makes it easier for people to understand you as like a person in your content.
Mhm. You know what
Because
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, oh, I actually don't remember what I was gonna say. Thank you, ADHD. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
That's
it's fine.
my fault. No,
No,
what
it's alright.
I
It's gonna happen a lot. So.
what I was gonna say was I personally struggle with what you're talking about. I mean, especially because I think sometimes I get caught up in all of the things I learned in school with advertising and graphic design and branding, which I think is good and bad because the way people approach graphic design on Twitch is absolutely different than like corporate and
Yeah.
brand graphic design. With corporate and brand design, it can be very limiting. Like you have to use the same colors, the same logos, the same approach in every market you touch. Otherwise, to the consumer, it would create confusion. But I feel like on Twitch, there are instances where it's appropriate to model your look after something else, or change up the approach depending on where the execution is. But I guess I always get in my head of, no, if you change it up or you do something else, you lose the integrity of what you're doing. So then I always get into this cycle of, am I doing this right? Or is this going to mess up how people remember what I look like? So an example would be for me, my typography of how I type Ash Said Hi. That's a
Mhm.
typeface. But I have been having the idea of wanting to use something that's more handwritten. But then I feel like if I do that, then I have to change all of the fonts on my panels, on everything that I do, on every single thing that I look at. So then I get like afraid of
It's a
jumping
lot of
into
work.
making that change. Yeah.
It's a lot of time. So
Exactly. It's the time commitment that makes it like a struggle.
I personally think a unified branding is good, especially if you have a growth mindset.
Mhm.
Um, but not at the detriment of everything else, which is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So it's like in your situation, I would be like, yeah, actually go for it, but just do it a little bit at a time. You don't have to unveil it all at once. You really don't. Like you can if you want. If you want to do like one thing a week and then
Yeah.
wait until it's all done and then unveil it, you can. But I think it's a good idea to unify everything. So like in the like corporate wise, like I think they're right in that. But the thing about Twitch and content creation is it's so dynamic all the time. Like you can't be static.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with that. You know what? I really like the phrase that you're using a lot, the growth mindset. Can you describe to us a little bit what that means for you?
For me personally, it means that I'm always trying to expand and reach new heights of whether you want to look at metrics or personal goals or I don't know, just like things like that, like tangible goals, I guess, reaching goals.
Mhm.
Because like a hobby streamer, which is 99% of Twitch, they just want to go live and hang out with people and have fun, and that's really what it should be for almost everyone.
Mhm.
And then for people that do it for a career, you have to, I think personally, also include the mentality that you should keep trying to grow and not just stay the same all the time. I have followed and known people on Twitch for 5, 6 years who don't have that growth mindset in mind, but they always have the exact same audience, right? And if that works for them, that's great. Like that's awesome, you know, as
Mhm.
long as they're enjoying it. But they're never going to go beyond where they're at because there's no one out there that's going to do it for you. Like
Mhm.
Twitch isn't going to do it for us. Like I feel like a lot of people are waiting for Twitch to like like lift them up or like recognize them or give them like their big break. Like that just doesn't happen. Like it's all 100% on us to get anywhere in this industry. 100%. There's some luck involved for sure, and I'm lucky. Like I always say, that's my superpower, right? But like with the growth mindset, it means you have to shoulder everything yourself.
Yeah.
If you want to push beyond where you're at.
It's so funny that you brought that up. I share that thought. I definitely share that thought. I do feel like there's a lot of entitlement when it comes to some ways that I see people behave. Maybe just on social media. Maybe that's just how people behave on social media. But I definitely do see that it's like I should just hit go live and Twitch should put me on the front page and I should be discoverable and it should be easy for me to go from 3 viewers to 300 viewers. Like it shouldn't take me a year. That should happen in months. And I don't think that is the right approach for growth on this platform or for any platform or for anything in life. I feel like it should be that you learn and craft and go along as you should learn as you go along and grow as you go along, and it should be incremental, because to go from 0 to 100 9 times out of 10, it's not sustainable if you do it that way.
Right. Like I've seen people who want those front page spots or want those huge channel raids, and I've seen those things happen. People who are like 5, 10, 20 CCV, streamers get like 1,000+ raid or get a front page spot, and they think it's going to change everything. And the result is you'll get like 10 to 50 follows from it. And then my general rule of thumb for follows to average viewers is about every 100 followers, you'll get 1 average viewer. So when you look at it that way, like those big raids, those front page spots, unless they're happening constantly and those people are constantly lifting you up for whatever reason, it's not going to change anything for you.
I think that's a really smart way to look at it. Honestly, like I really, really feel like that's such a good way to look at it. And I think that metric that you mentioned is spot on. I agree with you for sure. So let me ask you a question. Do you think that maybe broadcasters should be more open about talking about data and analytics? Or like, I feel like people don't talk about it in the way that you're talking about it enough. It's always just like, let me take a screenshot of whatever big broadcast I have and post like the really big numbers. But I feel like not enough people talk about the everyday, like what does growth look like on Twitch? So do you think that that's something people should talk about more, or do you see that a lot?
It depends on the audience. Like I've talked about it before, and sometimes even I've noticed my community just checks out because it's like they don't care. They're not there for that. So like if people are seeking that kind of information, yeah, talk about it, because the reality is, like you just said, people post those like single big nights, on social media, which is good, celebrate your wins. But if you really want to examine your growth, the way I look at it is weeklies and monthlies and quarterlies. Especially quarterlies. So like I could have a horrible month, right? An absolutely horrible month where like everything's down like 20-30% or whatever, like follows, viewers, whatever, average minutes watched, all that. But the other 2 months could have been amazing, and if you look at the quarter, it's grown since the previous, right? So like you can't like get stuck in these smaller sample sizes, ultimately is what it is. So I think it's fun to talk about stats, and I like talking about them, but I also try to read the room when I do. And right now I think people are probably interested in this. But I don't talk about it too often because I've been told by a lot of people that it's just like people don't care about that. I'm like, huh.
Oh, I feel like, okay, well, first, I just want to say thank you to Kiara Clash for the raid. Kiara said that they were building the new Lego Atari set, which I really, really
I've seen
want.
that one. Yeah, that one looks so cool.
It
I
does.
might get it. I might get it.
I know. I want to get it myself because it looks really awesome. So I hope you had a good broadcast, and thank you so much for choosing our channel to raid. Right now is the Awesome Streamer Hour. We're talking to the amazing and super awesome Finamenon. And we're just, doing a little deep dive into Finn's thoughts about broadcasting. And, thank you, Finn. That's very kind of you. You
I
started
don't
it
know what you're
today?
talking about.
Oh my gosh. So, it started today, but you got your local Lego store. He said he loves it. Yo, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, welcome in. Yeah, I think you talked about looking at the quarterly analytics. I want to know, so personally, Finn, I have a lot of trouble digesting analytics.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for me to look at the numbers and make them make sense in terms of what I do well and what I need to improve for my own broadcast. So, could you give us a little insight on what you think is a good stat or a good measure of stats to look at to tell if your broadcast is healthy and growing or if there are things you need to work on?
Yeah, I like to compare chat messages per stream to average viewers. That one's a really good one. So if I have a night, like I do 8 to 10 hour streams, I go long. And if I have a night where there's only about 2,000 chat messages, something went wrong. That's like low for me because my CCV right now is like 125, 130. It's pretty good. I think it's like the highest it's ever been. But if it's like 4K, then I can use that new tool that Twitch introduced. Well, the more expanded tool. We've always had this, but you can look at your chat messages and your stream summaries, and they show by 5-minute increments. So you can see where all the spikes are. You can click on those spikes and see what the hell was happening during the. Sorry, I forgot about profanity here. I'm sorry.
Hey, that's okay. Don't worry.
You can see where the spikes are, and you can click on that, and it'll take you right to that spot in the VOD. And you can see what was going on that causes those spikes. So that's a new like expanded tool that we can use that I had always done before, but it was a little more cumbersome. I like to look at see what else. Now, are you asking specifically on a single stream basis or more long term? Because that's a different answer.
I think, okay, so share with us maybe like 1 or 2 things that you would look at long term as well.
Long term minutes watched. If you take this is a stat that I think I live and die by.
Yeah.
If you take minutes watched and divide it by unique viewers, you get about your average watch time per viewer. And I think that one's really big. And if you're like I'm like over 2 hours on mine, which is massive.
That's awesome.
Really high. That's really high.
Yeah.
Like when you say on average, a unique viewer is there for 2 hours. Like that's a long time.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that touches into one of the, I think, key cultures of Twitch is lurkers, right? People put on your stream, they watch for a while, and then they just leave the tab open and go about their day. But still, that's still helping. That's still like a viewer that's there, that's like supporting and whatnot. But that's one I really like to look at long term is like average view time. Average viewers, of course, makes way more sense long term than it does short term. It's just sample size. Because like you could have a bad week and your average viewers is going to be crushed compared to the previous, but it's such a small sample size, like what, 4 or 5 streams or maybe less.
That's
You're not really
true.
getting a lot of info there, are you?
Oh my God. Yeah, that is so. Man, Finn, we need to have more of these chats because I'm just learning so much from you. And you know what, honestly, like I get what you're saying in terms of does my chat really care about learning about these things? Because everybody's viewership is different. Like if you have a viewership that's simply there to just watch the gameplay and lurk and just chill and kind of vibe, I could see why it might not be the most suitable conversation. But in a setting where you're talking to other people who broadcast a lot, like I feel like Zach UC would probably be a good example. Like this kind of information would be really interesting, or Devin Nash or any of that kind of thing would be those are the places to kind of have that conversation. So I totally understand that. Oh my gosh. Do I make you Randy? Thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub to Fins. Too cool.
Oh my god.
Oh, you know what's
Listen, my face is red enough, all right?
That's funny. That's too cute. Sky did ask a question. I just want to deviate for this for 1 second, just because tonight this is kind of important. But does Finn like the Braves or the Mets, or does Finn have a favorite baseball team? Because I know that the Mets are playing the Braves tonight, and it's kind of an important series of games right now. So I'm a little curious. And I know you do like baseball.
Yes, I do. I worked for the White Sox, so you can probably guess which team that I like. Unfortunately, this year was a bit of a dumpster fire, but Braves or Mets? I think the Mets are cursed. Like, I always, like, in the back of my mind, like, I want them to do something, but something weird happens to that team every year.
You're right, though. Honestly, this is like, as a Mets fan, my whole life, I always say something good happens, and then they just mess it up. I know it's
a weird
coming.
Team. Like, it's like that one NL team, or I think it's NL, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I can't remember.
I don't either. But anyway, it's always that one team where I'm like, you hear about the Mets and you hear it's like just Mets things, like something just bizarre, like some front office shakeup or like a botched trade, or like they just released like a star player for no reason. It's like, what are they doing? Like, come on, you have it right in your hands. Just do it already. Like, God. And I can relate to that because the White Sox are just like that. The same.
Yeah.
The same problem.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much to the anonymous cheer who gave 250 bits. I am so grateful. Thank you so much for doing that.
Nice.
That's a really generous cheer. Azura is saying that they didn't know that you liked the White Sox. That's really cool. Yeah, Cece, this is why it's cool to kind of ask these little questions here, these little non sequiturs. I like that a lot. Also Seamus put something interesting that I kind of want to read out. Your average collection of video game fans hanging out talking about assorted topics aren't too interested in talking metrics and Twitch growth. But for those of us who do care, it's challenging to find good data, and more so, good interpretations of that data. And I think that's why it's important to remember in this space. I mean, I always feel this way. I don't know if you share this thought, but I feel like in this space, it's important to remember it does us so much better to help each other out and lift each other up and have those conversations, because you cannot do this by yourself. I don't care what anybody says. I do not think anybody on this platform is an island among themselves. So I just think that it always helps us in the end to ask questions, be open. And of course, you don't want to like bother anybody. You don't want to like go overboard or whatever. But I'm always happy to help anybody who has questions about things like this. But I do wish that people were a little bit more open about talking about analytics and data, and that it wouldn't be so taboo to be like, well, what are your numbers and things like that. Like, obviously, I'm not going to be like bragging, like I'm not going to say, oh, my numbers were this and that or whatever. But I would love to like take a look at what the numbers are and help to understand, well, why did those things happen? And how do I understand them better?
Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, like 100% of the effort is on your shoulders. And that was with respect to like others aren't going to lift you up. But that doesn't mean you have to do it all alone. Like you can ask people right? And that's something I've done since the beginning, is found the experts and just bug the hell out of them. And if they were receptive, I would absorb it, Yeah. That's actually how I got started learning audio for Twitch.
Which is something I definitely wanted to touch on as well. Well, first I want to ask, because that was one of the things I wanted to know from you, is where do you go when you want to learn about data analytics or improving your broadcast? Do you have any resources that you usually check consistently?
No.
Just learn as you go along.
Honestly, no. That was why I made my Discord.
Oh.
Because I had no help
when
I got started. There was nothing I could find. So I was like, I need a place where people can have this. So that was the initial design, like, purpose of my Discord, was a place where streamer can go to ask questions, ask these questions, find this information. So no, I don't have specific resources that I check for like analytics stuff. However, you can look at I'm almost certain they do this. Streamer Square, Loco, Loco?
Yes.
Like, there are people out there that call themselves like content coaches and like streamer coaches, and a lot of times it seems like snake oil, but Loco is like legit the real thing.
Okay.
Like she's an amazing resource, and like that's her company, is Streamer Square. It's designed to help people learn this stuff. So I would go there if anyone was uncertain about that stuff. Otherwise, get to know other streamers and ask them questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, like that's how I've done it. Like, primarily is, if I didn't already understand how to examine the numbers myself, because I did statistical methodology in grad school, so I kind of already had an idea of what to do there. But like anything else, it's always been like, find the experts, see what they know, or see if they know someone who does, who's willing to put in their time.
You see, I'm just learning something new about you. Not only did you study like analytics and stuff, but you said you were doing that for a master's degree? Is that you have a master's degree? Oh, that's freaking cool. Awesome. I did not know that. Okay. I like what Mandelbrot said. Give it a bit of time, and someone in Finn's Discord will find the answer.
It's true.
All the more reason to join, chat. All the more reason. I just tested out that new shout out feature too. And you were the first one I tested it out. That's pretty cool.
I like it, but I don't.
Okay, tell me why you don't like it.
It's the same problem as the announcements feature.
Okay, what is that?
Almost anyone that uses mobile can't see it.
Oh. Okay, so do you think that that was intentional, or do you think that it's coming later?
It's like they're always lagging behind half a year on their mobile updates. Okay. So I just don't use them. Like, I told my mods, hey, if we're going to use that new shadow feature, make sure you use the bot still. Because the reality is, at least on my channel, and I think this is true of Twitch as a whole, about 30 to 50% of your audience is mobile. So if you're just exclusively using like announcement and shout out feature, you're telling 30 to 50% of your audience that they can't see what you're doing, right?
Interesting. See, I almost never use the mobile experience because of the chat delay and, just some of the features on desktop. It's more a more richer experience. So yeah, I didn't know that, and I never really thought about it but you're right. I should be more aware, because not everybody does have the opportunity to sit at a computer desk and use it. And I wonder if whatever the mobile experience is, if it's the same for if someone's using an iPad or a similar device.
iPad counts as mobile, but they also track metrics for console users and TV users, so smart TVs.
Oh.
And then there's the other category, which is like weird niche things like Chromecast or whatever, like Roku's or Fire Sticks or whatever. But less than half of the audience that watches me is desktop. It's about 45%. 55% is all the other stuff.
Wow.
So it's like whenever we get a new feature, I'm like in Discord asking mods or people like, yo, who's got mobile and who wants to help me test this? I need to see if you can see anything. They usually can't. So it's like, okay, we're just not going to use this for now.
Okay. Because I wonder if the reason why mobile is not really top of mind is because maybe Twitch on a whole, like, I don't know if the metrics for mobile use for Twitch, like, as a whole is way less than desktop. I think that that's interesting and should be explored,
It's pretty close. Like I said, I think mobile specifically, so Android, iOS, is about 30%. Somewhere in there. It's about 30, 35. It depends, honestly. But that's also why I always tell like affiliates, like, don't stream 1080p, 60 FPS. Don't stream 6,000 bit rate. You're probably not going to get quality options, and anyone that's on mobile is not going to be able to watch you. They just won't.
They'll be like, they get that weird black screen if they do that, right?
they either get like a black screen or their data or Wi-Fi cannot keep up with that bit rate. So it's just constant buffering.
Hmm.
So it's like
Interesting.
people in those situations are just like you're blocking almost half your audience when you do that.
Sheesh.
So I always tell people 720p 60 FPS or 3500 bit rate at the most.
Wow. And that's funny because I hear people say the exact opposite. Like, I hear both. So I'm like, well, who do
Partners, yes. Yes. Right? Or if you're an affiliate who almost always gets quality options, because I bet good money it's based on your CCV. Because when I was like getting closer and closer to partnership, I would have go live for quality options every single time.
Right.
Every time. But
Right.
like year or two before that, it was start stream, have them, no, stop. And I would just start, stop, start, stop
Right.
until
Until
I
you
got it.
got the
Yeah. Like
mm.
Neo Gunner there in chat, he watches me from his truck on
Right.
160p. Like he
Right.
just puts it on 160p or audio only. If I wasn't doing that, he never would have stayed in my channel because he couldn't watch it.
Oh my
And he's been around
goodness.
for years. So like people like that are just cut off if you're not keeping that in mind.
So I'd like to just take a minute to just talk to chat real quick and be like, chat, I really want you to think about something. Finn is putting a lot of effort into thinking about accessibility and usability in his space. And I don't think people give even a quarter of the amount of thought to some of the things that you're thinking of here. And
I don't blame him either because no one's telling him these things.
well, yeah, I'm sure some of it is like straight up ignorance. Like people don't even know that these are things that you should think about. But
Right.
I think that that's really something to celebrate. Like you thinking about, well, what is the viewer experience and being so thoughtful in your process. That alone is like super high quality stuff. So please make sure you're following Finamenon if you are not already, because I think that thoughtful content creators make this space better. So thanks for being so thoughtful, Finn. Also, if you have questions that you want to ask Finn, please make sure to put them in the chat so we can ask them, because I really want to hear your thoughts about this too, chat. Oh, thanks, Cutscene. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you.
She's awesome. Go follow her. Got a good channel.
Okay. Did we hit the Robotnik goal? Wowzers. Wow, wow, wow.
Not yet. Maybe.
Oh, man. Okay, so one other thing that I do want to ask you about. I learned so much from you in terms of quality of the stream with audio quality and video quality and stuff like that. Can you tell us why these are important pillars to you? And if there's any place where people can go to learn about that. I mean, obviously, your Discord is a great place, but how did you learn about that stuff?
Same as before. I asked experts. One of the first channel I started watching was a gentleman named Trevelyan. He was huge back in the earlier days of Twitch, because he was one of the first people that emphasized audio quality on a stream because he's got a background in shoutcasting, live streaming of a sort since 1999. Like as early as then, he was like shoutcasting like 24 bit rate audio only streams of like tribes tournaments or whatever. So like he's been in the hobby business of like live streaming in a sense for over 20 years. And so when I found his channel, it was the best audio I'd ever heard on a live stream. It wasn't even close. And he had a bunch of like sweepers, segues, radio style adverts on his channel all the time. He would play music every hour. So, it was a different time back then, right? So it was like, wow, I want my stream to sound this good. So I started asking him and people in his Discord and he had an dedicated audio channel. And you're starting to learn where I got the inspiration for that in my Discord there. And I was in there all the time asking questions. And I didn't care how stupid it made me look because I didn't know any of this stuff. They would point me to resources. Some people would yell at me because They were getting annoyed, whatever, you know, like some people were rude, some people were cool about it. Just started asking questions. Because I think the reality is, and maybe this is misophonia talking, 80% of the quality of your stream is audio, not video.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie and TV industry will tell you the same thing. So you even have things that you don't perceptibly notice that are audio related that help you understand what you're looking at. They're called J and L cuts.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're ever watching a TV show, watch for this, or more accurately, listen for this. There'll be a scene happening in the show, right? And someone will be talking.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to the ambient audio there when that's happening. When the cut happens, the ambient audio from the next scene will start 1 or 2 seconds before the visual actually changes over to it, or the dialogue will do the same. And that like primes your brain for the next part. Like the audio is priming your brain for what you're about to see. So you always need good audio quality because you're basically priming someone's mind to be ready for whatever's happening. And the level of dynamics there versus like how quiet and loud it is extremely important. So if I go to a stream and someone has no control over their audio and they start yelling and it's just like, you know, it's like, I cannot watch.
Yeah.
I'm out. But if it looks like buttholes but the audio is good, I'm there. I don't care.
Right.
I'm listening more than I'm watching. And that's true of almost everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So like I understood very early that audio was more important because I was experiencing it in Trevelyan's channel and through extension Skin Teen and some other people, because he started teaching streamers how to do the same thing. So like a big audio boom on Twitch, like audio equipment by people buying mixers and professional microphones, were a direct result of his influence.
Wow. Okay.
So I started doing the same thing. I was like, okay, I can pay it forward. So that's why I have the audio channel in Discord, and I try to help people do the same thing. I've done audio consults for streamers. Background Guy 02, Endier, Ryu Quetzalcoatl, a few others. A lot of others. I can't even remember. There's so many.
Wow. You just blew my mind with the J&L cuts thing. That's
one of the most important video editing tricks I think there is. I hate video editing. I don't do it, but I did learn it.
Video editing it's a lot of work. Honestly, you know what? I'm not going to lie. I do love to do it, but it is extremely time consuming. But when something comes out and it hits everything on the mark or aligns with the sound perfectly, or you get like really great transitions, oh man, something about it just gives me a lot of joy. So that I am going to look that up after this and learn more about J&L cuts. I think that's really good.
Use it.
Yeah.
I promise you, it's going to sound so much better to you and you won't even know why.
Man, that's psychological stuff. That's really cool. Mm-hmm. So Nevanos actually asked a really good question. And Nev says that it's one question I always find tough to answer is, if you feel like you're stagnating as a streamer, what are the steps you'd normally take to up your streamer game, if that makes sense?
Well, I mean, the most basic answer is it's time to change things, you know? Because I see this all the time. I've seen toxic positivity. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes.
Where someone's struggling, they've been streaming a year, 2 years, 5. And they're doing the same thing. Like, they're not changing. And people are going, oh, just keep grinding, keep doing the same thing. You'll get there. No, they won't. They've clearly recognized the problem. It's not working for them. They need to know how to fix it. You can't encourage what is not working for them, right? Mm-hmm. If you want to be a positive experience and it influence them, you got to encourage them to try something that will work for them. Maybe, right? Mm-hmm. So like the steps to up your game are to try and recognize what it is you're doing consistently that isn't working and stop doing it. Mm-hmm. Or try to recognize what has worked for you in the past and try to emphasize that more. I know that's kind of a generic answer. The problem is there's no formula for this. Because everybody's journey is unique and different.
Absolutely. I think that's really, really good advice. And if I were to add to that advice, I would also say, if you reach out to people and ask them for feedback, I think it's important to keep at top of mind that when people give you feedback, usually it's good intention feedback. I mean, obviously, if you're asking somebody you trust, the intent is good. So if they have feedback that's critical for you, understand that it's not personal. It's not them attacking you. It's them wanting to help you be better and being critical of whatever it is that they're giving you the feedback on. So if somebody tells you, hey, your stream is at a lull, maybe you might want to do something to keep it interesting. It's like, are you saying I'm boring? Are you saying I suck? Are you saying this? Like, what are you saying? It's like, don't try to read between the lines. Just
Mhm.
take that information in and say like, okay, what can I do better? Like I always,
Yeah.
after every broadcast, Finn, watch my VOD. I watch my VOD and I say, what did I do great? And what can I improve?
That's why I look for those chat spikes and other
Mhm.
things on the stream summaries. And yeah, I think that's what you're touching on is important, is that people need to learn how to remove their ego and emotions from it if they're truly wanting to grow. Like, I'm not saying emotions are bad or ego's bad, but you have to eliminate those when you're analytically examining what it is you're doing, because analytics are very just empirical and statistical, and they're not egotistical or emotional, right?
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. I just want to say shout out to RP Genius for the raid. RP Genius was playing Breath of Fire 4 when I was in there the last time. Were you still playing Breath of Fire 4? And thank you so much for the raid. I hope you had a really good broadcast. Welcome on in. For everybody who just joined us, this is the Awesome Streamer Hour. And I'm talking with the amazing and incredible Finamenon, who is giving us insight into his thoughts about broadcasting and his channel and Twitch and everything else. So welcome on in, everybody. Hi, Cleve. Hello. Welcome. All right. So, Finn, I have a very important question for you.
Okay.
Between a centaur, a cactar, a moogle, and a chocobo, who is the cutest?
Moogle.
Moogle!
Oh, yeah. I mean, baby chocobo chicks are adorable, but a moogle's always cute.
Oh, man. Wow. I totally did not expect that answer. I thought you were going to say chocobo for sure. But I think if I had to pick one, it would be cactar. I don't know why. I just love cactar a lot.
This?
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's so funny because I have the same plush. He's like buried back there behind Zelda.
Oh, I see him.
He's buried.
Oh, he's way back there.
Yes. Underneath the banjo. How can you hug cactar though? Just very carefully.
It's tough, yeah. You really got to think about it.
You know, Seamus asked a good question before. I wanted to ask you, what was your first microphone?
Oh, God. It was a wireless Logitech headset that would cut out every 3 seconds to 30 minutes. And it wouldn't just cut out the headphones, it would cut out the microphone too. It was awful. It was so bad.
Oh.
And it sounded like buttholes. Man, this is the worst microphone I've ever used.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, Logitech makes some cool stuff. Like this mouse,
yeah,
this wireless mouse is legendary. I love this thing. But their headsets, whoo. I wouldn't recommend them, but hey, you know, more power to you if you make it work for you, you know?
You want to hear what my first microphone was?
Sure.
It's really bad, Finn. This is going to be really, really bad. So when I first started broadcasting, I was broadcasting off of a iMac. And it was the built-in microphone in the actual iMac itself.
Oh man, I could just hear the vibration and reflections without even hearing it. You know what I'm talking about? You get that like vibration hum whenever you talk in your ears. Like it's like, ugh.
Oh man, it's because I didn't know.
I know what those sound like.
I didn't know. And then one of my very, very good personal friends, his name is G Cola. He was like, Ash. Now this is what I'm talking about with the feedback. He was like, Ash, you have to frickin' do something about your quality. Like people clearly love you. You clearly have the personality for this, but your microphone and your camera sucks. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I actually reached out to a friend who had a blue Yeti. It was a blue, and
Mhm.
the blackout one. And he was
Mhm.
like, Ash, you can have this for free. Don't worry. I just want you to do well on Twitch. And that was like my first actual real hookup USB microphone.
Blue Yeti. A lot of people got started with that was their first big upgrade, really.
Yeah. Yeah. And the
And it's the Yeti has the trappings of like, oh, it's a quality mic, but you need to learn how to use it properly
yeah.
because it's a condenser mic. So like condenser mics are designed to like take room audio, not just dynamic, which is like basically like right around the cardioid pickup here. Like
Yeah.
anything beyond that, and I start to sound like this, right?
Right.
But like a condenser, you can put farther away, but it's gonna pick up every noise in your room, like
Right.
footsteps, your heater, cats meowing, cars on the road. The worst is like people would put it on a stand by their keyboard, start typing. It sounds like they're playing drums, you know. But if you learn how to use it and apply filters to it, you can get some pretty decent quality out of it, right?
Right. Right.
So
Yeah, and that's funny that you mentioned that because that's what I learned. You know who taught me something was actually our night. He taught me, and this was about the camera, that you have to adjust the OBS settings to maximize on your camera. And I didn't know that I could
yeah,
do that within OBS. I just thought whatever the quality of the camera is what the quality of the camera is, period.
white balance is the big one.
Yeah. And I was like, it was literally, Finn, night and day visually different between
Yeah,
taking off like the autofocus and the auto white balance and whatever that other stuff was to now how it looks now. And sometimes people are like, Ash, what kind of camera do you have? And I'm like, this is just a regular webcam, whatever, you know?
you need good lighting. Like if you don't have good lighting, then the camera isn't picking up light, right? So it starts
Exactly.
to look fuzzy. It can even kill a frame rate because the exposure is trying so hard to just get what a little light is in there.
Exactly. And that's where I invested my money. I invested my money in the lighting. So I
Yeah.
literally have 5 lights in this room.
I've got 5, but 2 are ambient background color. So I guess technically 3 for the lighting. The ones
Yeah.
behind me are just like accent.
Yeah.
But yeah. Like if I did this, like you're gonna see an immediate difference. If I just
Right.
turn that off and now it's not as good. It looks a little more washed out too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just a tiny ring light right up there. That's all it is.
Seamus, there are 4 lights. Very funny. Very funny.
Getting some TNG up in here.
I love it. You know I love my Star Trek. All right. Bobby has a question actually.
Of course she does.
Of course she does. Bobby wants to know, out of your kitty cats, who's the biggest troublemaker?
Mog, easily. Oh my god. Are you kidding?
Oh,
God, like, just look at my hand. Like,
oh my gosh. Oh
that's the
no,
Mog.
Finn.
He's very aggressive with when he wants to play.
Oh.
He doesn't know how to keep claws and teeth out.
Oh my gosh. But they're
He
so
jumps where he's
sweet.
not supposed to. He poops in the tub sometimes. So, like,
Mog is probably the biggest troublemaker out of
oh
all
yeah.
cats.
He
Period.
tries to take a nap on the mixer and starts moving faders and hitting buttons. It's just like, okay.
Maybe he just wants to get into production.
Yeah, well, that's why we have the DJ Mog emote on my channel.
Oh my gosh, that is too funny. Well, Finn, can you believe it's already been an hour? That went by so fast.
Did you get through all your questions?
No?
All
I
right,
didn't.
we can do it this way. We can take a quick intermission so I can use the bathroom and finish up if you want. It's up to you. I know you got things to do too, though.
I don't mind that. If you want to, yeah, if you want to take like a little bit of a break, sure. And then we'll come back. We'll come back. How about that?
Yeah, I
All
got
right.
pee, so.
All right, all right, all right. Chat will be right back. All right, welcome back. Okay, I hope everybody got some water, did a little stretch, feeling good. Let me just make sure. Yeah. You know, Finn, I have a question. What do you think about the way ads run on Twitch?
Oy. Oh, I'm not a fan. Like, I use the ad manager program they introduced because it does disable pre-rolls, which are the biggest problem. But it also helps financially support, the channel.
Yeah.
They're giving that to partners now.
Yeah.
But like, I think it was a Twitch engineer himself said, he was being interviewed. I don't remember what it was for. I think it was like one of Twitch's own broadcasts. He said 70% of every person who comes to Twitch leaves and never comes back after the first visit.
Really?
And I think the major reason for that is pre-rolls. So, like, if they want to slam people with pre-roll ads, they need to be like pop unders. They need to not interrupt the live experience. Like, they need to invest like real money and time into making them what Twitch is, like some kind of like gamified interactive experience. It doesn't detract from the broadcast. Because when people show up and they're like, oh, cool, I can watch this person playing a video game. They've never been to Twitch before and they're stuck with like ads for a minute. They're gone.
Yeah.
They're just gone.
Yeah.
Like, it's miserable. So it's like, okay, Twitch is like, here, run X ads every Y interval, right? And this will disable pre-roll ads on your channel. Okay, finally, I got some semblance of control over that now. It sucks, but when I'm running ads, which are on my timer now, I just stop playing the game so nobody misses out on that live experience, which is part of the reason why JRPGs tend to work so well. Like, they let me play at my own pace. I'm not being like forced to do anything at all times. But, man, the ad experience it's getting better, but it's a mess still. It really is. I don't know. Like, I'm not happy with it. I'm just not. I think they're way too focused on ad revenue and not enough on other sources of revenue that I think would really benefit them and the creators.
So what do you think about the feedback that was given that it's a harder sell for advertisers to sell that pop under or that banner ad? Because most advertisers probably don't want that. They want the full-blown, in your face, here it is. Like how would, if you were to have a discussion with somebody who worked at the ad team, what would your feedback be if they gave you that information?
I mean, ultimately, I think all those kinds of ads do or create resentment over the people they're trying to reach. And I think ad companies themselves are so like cynical that they don't care as long as they're getting in front of eyes. So I don't know the revenue numbers that are causing, these agreements, but I feel like Twitch should have and possibly can look at other forms of raising revenue for their channel, or not their channel, but their entire service, because it's not really a platform anymore. It's a service. Like, they don't advertise Twitch Turbo, which blows my mind. It's probably because they don't want to anger advertisers. But Twitch Turbo, like, every time people are like, what is that? I tell them, I'm like, you pay $9 a month, you'll never see an ad on Twitch again. Like, that's an easy sell every time. So, like, I've always been like, Twitch, incentivize streamers, like, give them like an affiliate code or something like that. Like, let streamers get a cut of that if they get Turbo subs. Like, every streamer would start pushing that, wouldn't they?
Oh, heck
like,
yeah.
If I started getting a cut of Turbo subs, I'd be pushing that all the time. Like, yo, you will never see ads on Twitch again. Use my sub code. Let's go.
That is major big brain. That is major big brain.
I don't know why they don't do it. Like, the revenue for ads must just be easy.
Yeah.
Like, because I just, I don't have the ins and outs of the internals there in the business, but not many people do.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that's one of the most opaque places of Twitch. I feel like that is certainly a place where it's hard to find any information at all. Tina, Thank you so much, Tina, for the awesome raid. We're getting all the amazing raids tonight. Thank you so much. Yo, Tina, welcome in. We're doing the awesome streamer hour tonight. And we are talking to the incredible Finamenon, who's giving us insight into his thoughts about Twitch and advertising, not advertising, and broadcasting and everything else in between. And we, oh my gosh, double raid. We also got a raid from the Prez Noir. Thank you so much, Prez. Thank you so much. Everyone from my channel, please make sure to check out Tina and Prez Noir. Thank you so much for the raids. I hope you all had a really good broadcast. And like I said, for everybody who's just joining us, this is the awesome streamer hour. We're talking to the incredible Finamenon. He's amazing, knows everything about RPGs, and has the cutest kitty cats, and apparently thinks that Moogles are cuter than Chocobos.
And he was one of my oldest buds on Twitch.
Oh my gosh. Yo, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay.
I met her in one of those channels I mentioned earlier, Trevelyan and Skintine, like
Oh,
6 years ago.
Nice. Nice. I agree with that. Moogles are cuter than Chocobos.
Aha.
Chocobos are basic birds.
Oh no, here we go.
Bold opinion, but I can get behind it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's see. I'm just taking a look at any of the questions that we might have gone over. Oh yeah, so I know we talked a little bit about the shout out feature and some of the other features. Were there any new features on Twitch that came out recently that you do like? Oh my god. Sorry about that.
What is Bobby doing there?
She f***ed me up. Bobby messed me up for a second. I think your cats are having an influence on Bobby.
Mog especially, yeah.
Oh my god, what fell? Oh, my speaker fell. I'll pick it up after.
Okay. New features that I like. There's been so many in the last 2 weeks. I'm like whiplash from it, you know?
Yeah.
Why don't you name them for me? Because I honestly, it's just like, what new features am I using that I actually like?
Okay, so what got rolled out to everybody that was in testing was the chat highlight. That was in testing for a long time, so that just got rolled out. You also
I like that for first time chatters.
Yes.
A lot.
Yes. Also the highlighted message feature where you can pay to have your message highlighted for a certain amount of time.
As long as it doesn't replace anything else, fine, whatever. The cut on it is ridiculous. It's too low, but excuse me. But yeah, sure. Like they said, you can moderate it just like you could with bits messages. So I'm like, fine. If somebody uses it as a troll, delete, ban, whatever. Thanks for the money.
Yeah.
It's the same problem. Like, to me, it's such a softball lob. Like, it just seems like Twitch is throwing everything left and right out right now to try and distract us. And it's just like, okay, thanks for the shiny ball.
Also, the creator coin, which sort of replaces bits.
What is that?
There's like a coin option.
Oh, that.
Where you donate. Yeah.
I absolutely hate it. Like, because you can only do like $1, $5, $10, $50, or $100.
Yeah. Whereas
I don't think they realize how many channels make hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on bid amounts that are lower than $1.
Yeah. Oh,
because they're advanced emotes. Like people use them for reactions and emotions. That's what I use them for.
Right.
Like if somebody wants to like scream in pain, they do like, like whatever, however many bits it is, like 20 or whatever, and it just like plays a noise and you get 20 bits. Like, so like they would be completely gutting so many people's income and so many viewers' ability to be a part of that experience with their, with their contributions. Like I would be okay with it if it didn't replace bits. I'd be like, fine, okay, this is just another way you can use to support a channel. Okay, great. But if it kills bits, it is a huge loss for Twitch, money and PR wise, like mega loss.
Gotcha. Okay, I think the other was a shout out feature. We talked about that. We talked about There's another one, I think it's like pinned chat message.
Oh, the elevated one?
No, 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 not the elevator one. There's another one where I think you can pin a message to the top of your chat.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
but
haven't seen that. I haven't seen anyone use that yet.
yeah, I think that's still in like super testing mode. And man, I know I'm forgetting something because, like you said, there were so.
Boost train.
Oh yeah, and I think there's like uncapped trains now. Like
Uncapped type trains we
yeah,
saw last night.
yeah.
Yeah. That's for everyone as far as I know. Like that's live for everyone.
Oh.
I think it's cool.
Hmm.
Like I like that they're uncapped. Because you would always like if you ever hit like a cap type train, it would just like, oh, you're at like 200% now. And it's just like, okay.
So it was going uncapped regardless anyway. It just wasn't saying it in the thing, but now
Right.
it'll actually say it.
And they added like high scores to it too, which people like trying to beat records. So that's kind of a little incentive to have fun with it. I like the uncapped type train. I
Gotcha.
do. What was the other thing you said? The pin message? I
Yeah.
like the idea of it. I think it's cool. Is it going to work on mobile?
That's
You
always
know?
the first question. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. I'm just making sure I got through everything. Oh, you know what? Here's a good one. I know you love to collaborate, kind of like how we're doing tonight, but I've seen you
Yeah.
do lots of things with like R Night and Shrum and Juker and like a bunch of people. What advice would you give to somebody if they were looking to want to collaborate with other broadcasters on Twitch? Because it's a really great way to make friends and grow and things like that. What advice would you give to somebody who might be new to starting that conversation?
I mean, the only way I've ever been able to do it successfully is like knowing the person beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't really collaborated with people I don't know other than like a couple D&D one shots.
Mm-hmm.
But that, like when you kind of have that like nebulous connectivity with everyone at the same time, it's a lot easier to just be like, hey, do you want to be a part of this? And a lot of time people are like, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But really all of my collabs, even with you, it's like we knew each other already, didn't we?
Yeah.
The thing I think that's most important to remember is if you want to approach somebody about collabing, you need to know like what kind of approach they're going to like, which isn't easy to do because some people don't like my business oriented approach. Like I like to plan things out and like schedule things and like do calls and like tests and all that stuff. Like that works for me, but some people are just so put off by that they don't want to have anything to do with it.
Really?
Yeah. Like I've had people just outright be like, I don't like this. This doesn't work for me. Like everything just shuts down when I try to do this. I'm like, all right, that's cool. So it's like, I think you really want to collab with people you're going to get along with or know already. So like if you're trying to approach someone that you've never talked to, it's probably not going to work.
Yeah.
Is what I'm willing to bet.
Cold calling collabs are not the way to go, according to Finn. Okay.
That's my experience.
Yeah. I got
I'd
you.
love to hear counterpoints to that because I want to learn how to get more collabs.
Let me see. I mean, I'm in the same boat, I suppose. Like, I never really collaborated with people that I didn't know, but I also haven't been reaching out for collaborations often enough to have an informed opinion on it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm just running on empty just by myself sometimes. So I don't get a chance. But I think in the times when I have collaborated with people, I would certainly agree with the advice that you share in that it's easier to work with people that you already have a rapport with. And especially understanding how their workflow is, that's really important. Understanding their workflow is like super duper important because certain people, they just, have a way that they work on things and this is how it is for them. And that's what has worked for them. They just kind of want to stick with that. So,
yeah.
That has been my experience. But if I do have, you're right. I think the only time that I have worked with people that I didn't know is during Dungeons and Dragons one-shots,
Same.
which
Yeah.
segue into that, I know that you're an amazing dungeon master. What has been some fun adventures that you've gone into, and what do you think makes a good dungeon master?
Good dungeon master. I think a good dungeon master needs to understand that there are three storytellers at the table at all times. There's the DM, the players, and the dice. So you cannot railroad that. Like, it is not the DM's role to play God. It's the DM's role to facilitate that story, a collaborative story. Same goes to players. It's not a single player game. If you show up to be the star of the show, you're just gonna brush up against everyone else, and nobody's gonna like hanging out with you.
Right.
And sometimes a big moment can happen, and the dice doesn't go your way. There's still a way to make that compelling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the dice tell the story too. So like, I think that's really important for everyone to understand when they're at the table, not just the DM, that it's a three-way experience. And it all happens together. That RNG really, I think, adds a lot of dynamism to it, which is why people like it so much.
I love your thought about how it's a collaborative experience. And I think that sometimes when I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons, I kind of struggle with when do I insert myself into the conversation? Because, like, there are times when maybe I was on an adventure with people and I'd be like, wait, I want to explore this more, or I want to find out more about a certain particular part, but everybody's so ready to move on, or maybe they feel like it wasn't worth it or something like that. I don't know how to raise my little halfling voice and be like, I want to look for something.
It's hard to do, like, because I have a problem, like, I'm open about the ADHD thing. Like, my brain gets ahead of the conversation and I end up interrupting because I think I know what they're already saying. And it's just like, it's not intentional, but like in D&D, it's like, I really gotta try hard not to do that, because I'm not the only one there that's, telling the story. But you also can't just like sit there and be quiet all the time either, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta be there. You got to put yourself in the moment, It's hard to do. It's really hard to do, especially for me, because I'm actually introverted as heck.
Mm-hmm.
So like in a social small group, I'm always really anxious and nervous.
I guess that also goes along with the rapport of the people that you're with and building that trust. There definitely has to be trust there too, because sometimes in a Dungeons and Dragons situation, you might find yourself in a story where maybe you're doing something to a character that's not so great, but you like the person, but you don't want it to come off as, oh, like, what is this person doing in the game? They're trying to sabotage me, like, what's going on here, So.
Yeah, I like what Alchemist is saying there. I'd say that's pretty accurate to D&D.
It has to be treated like a play. Every character has a role and is always integral to the story, no matter the amount of lines or impact. All characters are important. I think that is a really, really great thing to say. And I really love what Azor said too about the improv acting. I think that's a really great skill. Improv is a really, really, really great skill that also bleeds into things that we do on Twitch. I wish that there was like a way that we could do like improv seminars for broadcasters,
I mean, couldn't we?
Yeah, if there's somebody who's knowledgeable in it, I'm signing up for that class like today.
When I was a DM, I was always like, I would plan out like sessions. Like, this is what the party is doing. Because like the last campaign I did, they were a mercenary guild and they would take missions. So I'd give them a list of missions and I would pre-plan all those missions out ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
But 80% of those missions were just me improving.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't plan for what the players are going to do ever.
Mm-hmm.
As a DM. You can't. You have no idea of knowing the future and knowing every possibility and which specific one they're going to act. You can certainly guide them.
Mm-hmm.
And at times, if you really, really have to, you can railroad them, but that's a slippery slope. But almost all of like the NPC interactions, monster interactions, sometimes even just like hidden treasure, traps, whatever, just on the spot, like improv it.
Mm-hmm.
because it makes it feel more, I guess, lived in and natural
Mm-hmm.
when I'm just actively like reacting to what they're doing versus scripting it out.
Gotcha. Yeah, that okay. All right. I like that. I like that perspective there. That's really insightful. Thank you for sharing that with me today. Also, I just want to remind anybody in chat, if you have any questions, put them in there. But we are getting to an hour and a half, and I do know that you have to broadcast after this, Finn. And I think I went through all my questions, or at least all the ones that I really was like, I need to ask.
Cool.
I definitely need to ask. Yeah. So, any last thoughts that you might want to share with people here? Anything that you want anyone to know about you, your channel, and yeah, take it away.
This is like my biggest weakness is like closing out.
Okay, so maybe just tell everybody about your channel, when you broadcast, and what kind of games you broadcast.
So typically it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern PM, and I go about 8 to 10 hours. Now I'm always in the retro category, but not always. But really, it's more of like just chatting experience. So I always say the games are the backdrop; they're the conversation piece. Community conversation is really the focus there, and that seems to work best for my style of content. I'm not the like bombastic 10,000 viewer event, channel. It's a very like tight knit community. It's just slowly growing over time. And that works best for me. And I would say anybody out there that's streaming, find what works best for you, because again, everybody's journey is unique and different, and there's no formula. So like when people are asking like, yo, how do you succeed, or what did you do to get where you are? I don't know. I have no idea. Like I can't solve that for you. Nobody can. Like literally nobody can. So it's like my channel is what it is because that's what I wanted it to be. I guess is really the most basic way to put it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you on that for sure, because I feel like no matter what advice you give to people, there's always the counter advice to whatever you're saying, because everyone's workflow can be so different depending on what they had access to, how they started, if they had visibility on other platforms already, whatever their special case is, it can be very different for everybody. So there's always a reason to agree with whatever advice people give, and then whatever advice people give, there's always a reason to be like, well, this person did this and they succeeded, So it's like, all right, whatever. But thank you for sharing that. I just want to say, Finn, thank you so much for your time. I'm so grateful that we were able to have this conversation. It was a really good one for me. I really loved it. And I learned so much, as I usually do, from you. And thank you so much for that. Thank you so much.
Dude, I'm always learning stuff from you too. So thanks for having me here.
My pleasure. So I'm just gonna switch scenes into the solo chat scene. I know you're gonna go live soon. We're gonna raid into your channel. So everyone say bye to Finn and tell him he's amazing. And please make sure to go and follow the amazing Finamenon. Please make sure to click that link and give Finn a follow. Let's do the new way to do it too. I want to test this out. Hold on. Let's see if I could do it twice. Okay, there we go. Wait, there's a
cool.
Okay, thank you so much, Finn. Thank you, everybody. Oh wait, Finn, did you have anything else you want to say before we go?
No, just be genuine, I guess. I don't know.
Cool. All right. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out in that conversation today. It was really, really awesome. I definitely took some notes and learned a lot from the incredible Finamenon. Please make sure to click that link and give Finn a follow. as a Bill and Ted response. Oh my gosh. Thanks. Really interesting. I'm so glad that you all had fun. I really love having these conversations with creators. And if there's anybody who wants to be a part of it, feel free to send me a message somewhere, Discord, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Send me a message somewhere and we could certainly work things out. But yeah, I think my biggest takeaway from having that conversation with Finn tonight is, pay attention to your analytics, do your research, be open to hearing feedback, just explore the platform and make sure to be aware of how people are experiencing Twitch itself and what can we do to assist in their accessibility when certain features or functions might not be the same across all of the different modes of experiencing Twitch. So he definitely gave me some things to think about there, and I hope gave you all some things to think about too. Thank you so much, Panto Grunt, Icon, Azure, Quiet Assassin. Thank you so much for all those kind words earlier. TDX. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. A lot to balance. I feel like sometimes that could be the reason why we run ourselves so ragged, sometimes with content creation. Because there's so many facets. There's so many things to pay attention to and things to think about. Yeah. So please, everyone, like I said, make sure to follow Finn. Finn is going to be going live in a minute. I want to just give Finn some time to, go live and set up the channel. We're entertainers. Exactly. So I totally agree with you there. I want to take I totally agree. Ooh, no, Ash, what are you doing? I want to take a class on improv. I think that would help my craft so much. That would be a really, really great tool to have in the toolbox. Like improv lessons? Tell me that wouldn't help your ability to be able to A, perform on camera, and B, start a conversation out of somewhere or, out of whatever you're experiencing in the moment. So maybe I gotta find my local improv class. One of the basic to a lot of actors' toolkits. And I feel like, it's such a good skill to have in terms of just general speaking. If you have to go to an interview, like a job interview, if you have to share knowledge on something and present in front of a group of people. Improv with Ash, please. I do know one rule of improv. I do know one rule. The one rule of improv I know is never say no. Always say yes to whatever your situation is and make your counterparts shine. Always say yes. So I do know some rules about improv. Say hot dog. Oh my gosh. I do know that those are, because if you shut down a situation, then you immediately end whatever is going on around you. And then how do you build on something if you're already saying no to whatever that scenario is? Well, of course, with any kind of thing we learn, there's always ways to bend or break the rule. For whatever it is. Wow, very funny, J-Rock. Very funny. Very, very funny. But thank you so much, everyone. I hope you all had a good time hanging out with Finn and I today. Finn is such a wealth of knowledge. Please make sure to give him a follow and check out his channel. We're going to go rate him right now. Thank you. Almac, thank you. Nostalgia Alchemist, thank you. Observer Herb, thank you. Quiet Assassin, Grunt, Azor, Manzelbrot, Prez, thank you so much for that raid earlier. I hope you had a really good broadcast. Thank you, Prez. I just want to say thank you so much. You are really, really awesome and super supportive, and I just want to personally say thank you to you for that. Manzelbrot, thank you for the tier 1 sub for 4 months. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Let's go and raid Finn. Let's go over there and give him all of our energy. Okay, so chat, tomorrow is usually our Amiga in the AM, right? Tomorrow's usually our Amiga in the AM. However, we're not going to do Amiga in the AM tomorrow. Tomorrow, what we're going to do, we're going to play Lego Lord of the Rings, okay? And we're going to do a watch party of Rings of Power. That's what we're doing tomorrow. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch Rings of Power with us. We'll watch the first episode. If y'all really love it, we can watch the second episode. A new episode just came out on Friday. Isn't Rings of Power not finished yet? No, yeah. They just released a new episode today, actually, today. So we're gonna go check that out. I wanna, see what people think about it and just watch like the first episode. You're on episode 7, Super Hamster? Oh man, I can't wait to hear what you all think about it. Because there's some very, 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 very exciting things that's gonna happen soon with Lord of the Rings and other things. But anyway, we'll talk about that at another time. Anyway, we're about to raid Finn. Everyone from my channel, please give Finn all the love. There is the raid message. Copy that down. And let's go say hi to Finn. I'll see you all later. Chat, don't forget to tell your friends Ash said hi. Take care. Bye-bye, everybody.